Spotify. So before we do this kind of repair, let us explain what's happening right now for this ACER Predator Helios Neo 16. So by the way, the Neo 16 is one of the gaming laptops ACER introduced. So since nandito tayo sa Baguio, isa lang tayong problem ng mga liquid metal based laptops. Why I like it and why I don't like it. Number one, maganda siya sa thermals. Pagdating sa thermals niya actually. Pero pagdating sa mga ganitong laptops like the Predator is maganda naman thermals niya. Yes, in fairness, it's really great when it comes to thermal performance. And meron siyang downside. So, i-review natin yan soon. Pero let's try to do the benchmark, which is this one. Ayan siya. So, we are using this laptop na makikita nyo. What you can see here is we are using this laptop in terms of AutoCAD or naglalaro ng games. But when we go on to our scenario, medyo okay naman yung performance niya. Though sometimes on the temperature side nito, nasa 40 degrees Celsius tayo sa CPU and 51 degrees on our GPU. So, let me explain more about why I don't like thermal based na liquid metal. So, first and foremost, the reason kung bakit hindi magandang liquid metal on laptops is madali po silang mag-overheat. Or hindi naman sa overheat, pero pwede niyang sunugin yung silicone chip natin. So bakit yung silicone chip natin or why the silicone chip that will get burned is because if you're using this laptop for 1 year already or less than 1 year, that's an obvious sign of burn marks. And liquid metal is not really quite easy to replace because they are really liquidy. You cannot use tissue paper or any other materials that you need to be super careful when replacing one. So, kung nasasabi tayo, legit pa tayo na store when it comes to fixing this laptop, yes, we're going to do this in a quality standpoint. So, ano ba yung una natin gagawin? Replace the thermal compound, and of course, we're going to remove the all liquid metal and change it with a suitable thermal compound. So here we go. This is under the liquid metal. As we go on to our picture result, which we have screenshots. Okay, there we go. Get some screenshots of So here we go. What you can see here, na-zoom in yung kanyang lock. Ayan. So we get the Core i7 13700HX with 16 cores and 24 threads at 13 megabytes of cache. You can see right here, we have a single core point of 99 points for Cinebench R24. And especially we have 866 points on our multi-core. While our GPU score at 8769 points. That doesn't matter when it comes to liquid metal on this laptop, which is really good, but it is going to be surprising. So let's go on to the next picture since we screenshot everything here. Yeah, NTE. We're going to play NTE and see our temperature. So the first thing here is we are going to show you guys the balance score under Geekbench 7, which is 1387 for the single core and 6977 for the multi-core score. If we go on to the next part, which is this one, under the turbo mode is 1739 on our single core, 10336 for our multi-core score. So this laptop was purchased last year around 82,000 pesos or Philippine pesos for this kind of gaming laptop. Because of course, it's a gaming laptop, even with or without cooling pad, even comes with the best software and hardware that comes with this unit. The only gripe with this is the fact that liquid metal is common to these kinds of laptops. So what you can see here, we're going to do the max speed for this laptop if you go on to turbo mode. So our CPU is running at 48 degrees Celsius for its stock thermal compound. But if we try to play games, like for example, we're going to play Neverness to Everness, we're taking our review right now, right? But we will see if this one can perform very well. So we're now in turbo mode. Our temperature on our CPU under low load is at 58 degrees C. So you will see later on our temperature how much temps do we get from this kind of laptop in terms of liquid metal before we are going to change it to either PTM 7950, or since we don't have one at the moment, we have the Cryonaut, which is from Thermal Grease. Okay, so Neverness to Everness is now running, and our NVIDIA app is having problems right now. So our statistics is not running perfectly. Let's retoggle this. Yeah, doesn't run perfectly. So sound test, of course. The fan noise is really huge for this kind of laptop to perform in terms of audibility. So best to use headphones. So we're running this NPE or Neverness to Everness in this setting right here with NVIDIA DLSS performance at a close frame rate, close frame interpolation 120 FPS. It's a mixture of some details here on off, especially VSync, since we're using ERTX 4060 for this kind of laptop. So what we're doing here is we are checking on the temperature side of the CPU. So there we go. Let's do some game tests for the meantime to check the temperatures for just around 5 minutes or less. Because what we're seeing here right now when running the game, let me lower down the volume a bit. So what you can see here under monitoring, our CPU is running at 99 degrees Celsius, which is bad for this laptop. 99 degrees Celsius for a liquid metal based laptop. You can see it right here. I'm just going to tilt it. That's liquid metal, okay? CPU, 99 degrees Celsius. Oh, hello. Welcome to the stream. So, what you can see here is that when it comes to CPU on liquid metal, there are two factors that you need to take note for, especially elevation. Because the elevation on the thermal paste is actually quite okay if you're going to put it in an angle for better airflow. Liquid metal, it needs to be flat. It cannot be used in a angled way because the liquid metal can go down and it will not cool the laptop properly, which is annoying for this kind of laptops. And very common for these laptops, especially Alienwares, ASUS ROGs that are using liquid metal. It cannot help the temperature and it will burn the CPU. You will see that later on. But first, here's our performance. This one runs on 16 gig of RAM. And of course, as I forgot to mention, this one comes with the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4060 with 8 gigabytes of VRAM running at 140 TGP. Into say it's 140 watts and it's a huge charger, by the way. The review will be coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. But what we're doing here is we are doing some benchmark tests on this to see if it performs okay before we're going to execute the thermals on this thing. And I'm seeing there's a little bit of a problem, especially on the thermals. 99% CPU temperature is not good. Yeah, I know it heats up. Okay, so just a little bit of gaming, and you can see our temperature runs at 90 to 83, which is okay. But our problem here, it runs on 99 degrees C on its statistics, which is not good. This is a more like kind of close to a desktop 13700 regular CPU version of Intel. But it's time for us to disassemble this and change the thermal paste to a thermal body, but we don't have one, so we're going to use the Cryonaut thermal paste for this. So it's time for us to shut down the device. So here is the step-by-step procedure in changing the liquid metal to a thermal paste or PTM 7950. This will take a while when it comes to cleaning this because it's going to be tedious and we need a lot of steps to remove this thing. It's going to be more annoying than just repair it by DIY, and it's better to repair this one to a professional technician like us. So the first thing here is we are going to unplug all of our USBs, wireless mouse, chargers, everything between. There we go. So it's not plugged in. The first thing here, we need to rest this laptop for at least 15 minutes. Why did I say 15 minutes or less? This will actually cool the laptop down for a bit, and we're not going to do the thermal change if it's running quite hot. And the liquid metal still is free flowing, so we need to actually put the liquid metal to rest for a bit before we're going to replace it. So it's time for us to go with our first step is we need to flip the laptop upside down, and since we have taken out all the screws, it's going to be an easy ride for us to remove this one. So this has been removed, so yeah, it's very easy for us to actually take out the bottom cover, just like so. It's now removed, and there is your internals for this laptop. There we go. As what you can see here, this one is a DDR5 16 gigabytes, not 8 gigabytes. 16 gigabytes running at 4800 megatransfers per second. So it's going to be okay for a laptop if you're using this for AutoCAD, but let me explain about this one. This one is going to be fine. So now it's time for us to take out our screwdriver, and here's the proper way to actually remove it. And we're going to do a proper cleaning on this. But because the board is still clean, the fans are still clean, this one is actually a aluminum base plate, so it kind of feels dirty, but we can clean this one later on. So the first step here is we need to take out all the screws. So this one has been taken out already. So this is the pattern that we're going to do. So the first one here is follow the pattern number 1, 2, 3, 4 in the next pattern. But before we do that, of course, we just demonstrated that we have taken this one out already, which is going to be a wrong movement. If you are going to change the thermal compound before you change any kind of parts here, like your SSD or RAM, what's the first thing that you need to take note for is you need to take out the battery. So the battery connection is here, so just unplug it like so. There we go. remove the battery. So by the way, this one uses a 87.6 watt hour, so it's a 90 watt hour battery in full capacity. But yeah, it's not quite dirty, so it's not necessarily needed to be clean. You just need to blow it out. But here we go. Since we have taken this one, we have taken this battery out. The next step is you need to open up the laptop and press and hold the power button for 10 to 20 seconds. Why? Because it actually removes some of the residual power coming from the board. So this will be the safest way for you to actually change your components after you plug up the battery, and pressing the power button for 10 to 20 seconds is going to be an easy breeze for you to change different kinds of components. Another technique here is that if you're going to take out the heat sinks and you want to avoid your LCD to have any kinds of cracks or pressure, you just open up the laptop in a certain angle and place it here. So there we go. So now you don't have problems in terms of replacing different components because the LCD is already on my lap and it's open in 90 degrees. So our only focus here is in the cooling system. So we just need to take out the screws here. Three, four. Same here for the GPU. Okay, there we go. And remove this thick film right here so that we can clean out the fans. So the first thing here is actually going to be a tricky one. Because on ACER Predator laptops, especially this model, you need to take out the LCD cable, which is right here, by the use of the pry tool. And gently lifting the lock up. And we can now take this one out, like so. And the next step here is we're going to take out our heatsink right here. So since this one has been separated and has been cleaned before, well, not really. There we go. That's the inside of the laptop. As you can see, the liquid metal is right here and it's now going to spill a bit in this area, so we're going to take that one out, especially on the CPU die itself. So here we go. It's time for us to zoom this one in. You can see on that yellow protective tape with this seal right here, this is actually the sealant to avoid any kind of spills from the liquid metal. But you can see on the middle part is that our processor is having a problem on the middle row right here. So it's quite burnt. So doing this removal process takes time, so we need to remove all the thermal liquid metal right here. So what you can see here, this one is one of the most trickiest part because removing this liquid metal, it will not stick 100%. And you can see right here, we're just going to put that one. Yeah, you can see that small blob of thermal liquid metal right here. This is not good. So you just need to separate this to avoid any kind of liquid metal spills on the motherboard, which is going to be quite a tedious process, and that's the reason why I don't like liquid metal on a laptop. So what you can see here, that is a very small speck of liquid metal. So we just need to take this one out for a bit, gently, and it's still liquidy for this thermal liquid metal to be removed. So we're just doing the push method so that we can gather all the liquid metal, and there are also liquid metals on the sides, so yeah, this is going to be quite tricky. And removing that, so There we go. Can remove some of it, but it wouldn't stick on the Q-tip, so we still need to continue removing this one for a bit. So what I can see here on the top side is quite burnt, so removing this one is going to be a chore. And if you're not careful, this will spill and can destroy your laptop, motherboard, or some other integrated circuit components. So yeah. This is one of the most trickiest cleaning methods that we can see right here. Now that's a huge one. As you can see here, that's a huge one. So we're going to replace our Q-tip right now because liquid metal always spills, and this one sucks for fixing any kind of laptops with liquid metal. I mean, it helps in terms of temperature and thermal management, but burning the CPU die is another different thing that could happen. And if you're not careful and always putting it in your backpack without cooling the laptop for quite a bit before you are going to pack it in, this can spill and can destroy your laptop entirely. That will be another cost of repair. So slowly and steady, when removing thermal paste, it's a more easier approach than liquid metal because doing this can actually be a tricky, very tricky situation when we remove these ones. So we're going to change Q-tip because this one is only for 30. And let's reload another one because this is a little bit of a time-consuming process. What we're doing here is we are going to eliminate all of the liquid metal that stays in the CPU die, especially on the outer corners, and making sure that all of the liquid metal coming from the laptop CPU right here should be perfectly clean without any kind of spill. Yeah, this is not the most annoying part. Even with the use of an alcohol, 99% IPA, it works a bit, but yeah, you need to be careful. You need to be careful not to spill this one. And to reload another Q-tip. That's Q-tip number 2 already. So we need to make sure no liquid metal spilled outside of the seal chamber right here. So I'm checking. Oh, there is one. Uh-oh. That's what I'm talking about. That's the most difficult part when it comes to removing liquid metal. Sometimes it spills outside to the components, which is not good. Okay. There are small bits still outside of the laptop. Okay, there we go. Checking the DRMs and other ICs. Good. Okay, we're good to go. I still need to remove all the other original pieces right here. And they are so many still. You can use a Q-tip later on, but yeah, it's better to be safe and to be sure in terms of removing them. the reason why even Dell parts people doesn't like liquid metal, especially for me as a technician. I'm not exaggerating that they are good also. Sometimes they are bad, especially on laptops. It's taking a while for me to go. Okay. So it's time for me to use a glue tip with alcohol, so for glue tip right here right now. I'm going to do the same thing on the heatsink, which is kind of annoying. And the liquid metal spills coming to my fingers and hands. This is how hard it is to clean them without proper cleaning. So now we are cleaning the CPU die. And as you can see, there are so many marks on the CPU, which is not good. Using PPM 79PP is a really great thermal compound of choice. It's a phase change thermal compound that can be used for any kind of gaming laptops with liquid metal, or even some other older laptops that overheats a lot. So I can see there are no more liquid metal coming out. Oh, there is one. Oh, I see one. There you are. That's a little big. Not super big, but big. There you go. Just remove the other one. Yeah, the cleaning process will take time, and the only key here is being patient and do not rush, because any mistake here can actually spread a ton of particles of liquid metal onto your board, and it's going to be a bad time and going to be an expensive cost. So there should be no room for error. Okay, just like so. I can say that is a success. One last pass right here. Oh god. Now it's time for us to clean the CPU. Like so. Before we are going to apply the thermal paste, which is Spinot. There we go. I just need to do a little bit of a very sparkly clean CPU die. Yeah, I see some thermal liquid metal that if we try to zoom it in, yeah, it's hard to zoom it in. But that is how very hard or difficult it is to clean a laptop with liquid metal, that we also need to check everything later on. But first things first, before we go to that, is we are going to continue on our heatsink right here. So our GPU thermal pad is fed over here, so it's not yet ready to be replaced because of customer budget. But yeah, we're just going to replace the thermal compound on our GPU with the same thermal compound So this one is also using pineapple, but let's wait for it to change the brand new fresh thermal base. Before we go to the difficult part, which is on the heatsink. So what you can see, by the way, what you can see here, where's the liquid metal on this area, is actually right here. That silver one right here is now spilled with liquid metal before. So this one cannot be removed. And it needs to be well taken care of in terms of cleaning them. Especially liquid metals are not really fun to clean, especially if you're not experienced. This can really happen to you, not really in a good way. Because we have repairs before that an Asus laptop, they put liquid metal without any notice and burned the memory VRAM chips of on the NVIDIA GPU, and also the processor heats up, which is still an Intel Pentium. You want to pull an Intel Pentium in for liquid metal. That's crazy. But in the same time, it's not necessary for you to put liquid metal on Pentium laptops because they're underpowered. They're based on as an entry level ones, so yeah. So the first tip here, when cleaning or deep cleaning a laptop, you need to make sure that all the parts that you have disassembled will be in the same spot. Especially in terms of recabling cables, because if you're not really good at cable management, this is also applied to a lot of laptops, so that when closing the lid or putting it back together, it will be more organized and it will not be a spaghetti wire that comes out of nowhere. And it's really quite tough if you're not taking good care of your laptop. So what we're doing now is we are cleaning the battery. As you can see, before it was dusty, but now we just put it a little bit of a clean, and that should be good to go. So this one has been disinfected with 99% solution alcohol. So now we go on to our heatsink and let the removal of thermal liquid metal here, that is going to be quite challenging from the CPU die. But here, since we have a guard, it will be easier for us to take out the other residuals of liquid metal lurking in the protective padding right here, the protective padding or the seal. As you can see, this is kind of a challenge that if you this is your first time removing thermal body, I mean liquid metal, uh, it will take you time, it will be a headache, that you need to check everything from top to bottom and praying that it won't explode. It's not really exploding, but it will scatter if you are putting it by force. So a little bit a little gentle when it comes to removing them. And that is tip number 5 is the 6th one. So our goal here is to remove at least as many as we can on the liquid metal so that our new thermal compound will be put in place. And yeah, that's another one here. Okay, we need to be careful. That's the reason why liquid metals can be very tricky at times, especially replacing them. Ooh, that's still right there. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we can just use alcohol and our napkin to remove all the other parts of the canal right here. I mean, you cannot remove them 100%, but this will make the heatsink to be perfectly clean. So there we go. Our CPU heatsink and our GPU heatsink. We're not going to touch the thermal body because we don't have stocks at the moment. But this is actually what you can expect to be a clean die placement for our GPU and CPU. And now we're cleaning it with alcohol as well as some other areas. Thermal pad, not yet to be replaced because it's still 1 year old. But yeah, that's a success. So there are tips in terms of cleaning. When we do deep cleaning, we need to make sure that all the components on this laptop is perfectly clean without any compromises. So the first thing here is we are just going to brush the whole thing. Make sure no dust and debris will come inside the laptop, of course. So since it's a little bit minimal when it comes to dust and dirt for this laptop, it's quite okay. You can do power washing in terms of how dirty the laptop is, but judging by the condition of this laptop, not that much. So it's just a minimal cleaning right here. Okay, so making sure we don't have any kind of liquid metal lurking around, because that's another thing that we need to be careful for. There we go. So here we go on the heatsink area. So since we have cleaned the laptop, there we go. We have cleaned the laptop perfectly with no problems. Because since it's still minimal, you just need to be careful not to damage other parts. That's the reason why we take out the battery and press and hold the power button for 10 seconds to help release some of the remaining electricity coming from the laptop. So in this part, since we don't really need to clean our CPU, focus on the GPU fan. So I did this one off screen before we do the repair and cleaning. So there we go. What you can see, there are still dust spilled out right here. So you need to make sure that's perfectly clean without any kind of dust and dirt. You can use a blower, but here's the simple technique in cleaning the laptop fans. So since this one I already cleaned this laptop fan and re-lubricated, we're not going to touch this one. But you can only touch the other one. But before that, you just need a little bit of a blow. This is to make sure that the laptop is very clean and any dust that comes inside, especially underneath the laptop, doesn't have any kind of dust and dirt, especially grime. Okay, so now it's clean. As I forgot to mention that when we clean, we need to polish it a bit to make it more presentable. Disinfect some of the areas. You can do that later because there's another secret for that. So let's go into the next one. is our heatsink fan. So we'll put this one on the side again, and let's focus on our heatsink fan. So this is our fan for the GPU, and the best way to do this is you need to take out all four screws. There are some fans that are not going to be removable, so you just need to be careful if you want to try it out. That would be a more effective way to clean your fan. So this is actually for Nitro laptops. This is the A515. For Predators, like the Neo 16 has this kind of fan that is similar to some of the Helios 300 laptops before, with the aluminum blade. So this is where the secret technique starts. The first thing here is you need to take out the plate. There we go. And be careful when removing the fan right here. And just pull it out. Like so. There we go. It popped out. There we go. We got the fan blade. So the first thing here is we need to clean the surface. Make sure nothing goes in the way. And of course, using a brush to clean all the edges right here. And we're going to lubricate this one. So now we go on to the fan. Just need to clean this one off. So normally this one uses aluminum blade. That's why it kind of looks dirty. But of course, there's another technique for that. And that is with the use of an alcohol or multi-purpose cleaner. Which you have this one right here. And spray this one on the side. It's okay if this one has been clean for quite some time now. But you can see right here, we can actually try this one out. So we're just removing some of the remaining dust and dirt from this fan. And we are also removing some of the dirt areas coming inside the bearing area of the fan. Doing this will actually give us a more beautiful look for the fan, and not only that, it will perform without any kind of rattle. This happens every time when it comes to fans. So we're just going to wash this one off, and you can see how much dust it accumulates for this fan right here. So making sure all the edges is perfectly clean. And it's time for us to rinse this one out. It's okay to rinse this one out to dry this fan. So you can see right there how dirty it is. Now I'm just going to rinse this one out. So I'm just going to blow the fan. And putting some small bits of alcohol to separate the water. And this will be used for the drying process. Okay. So I think we're done cleaning the fan. So what we're doing now is we are cleaning the fan blade. I mean the part where the motor is. So So as you can see right here, we're cleaning the side edges. And what you can see here, this is how dirty this one is on the ring side. And now, the blade is more 10 times cleaner than a little bit rusty when it comes to dust and dirt. So how to dry this one, since we remove soda water bits with alcohol, the most easiest way approach here is you can use a blower, which is a high-speed blower, or you can use our heat gun or our SMD tool. What I'm using is the Gorda 868D hot air station. So I'm just going to put the temperature to the lowest possible preset of 100 degrees Celsius to just dry the laptop fan right here. So you just need to be making sure, you just need to make sure that this one is perfectly in place. So just turn off our charger, plug this one in. So the technique here is when when it comes to deep cleaning a laptop, you can use a blower or the ones that can be used in a portable fan. But make sure that your CPU and GPU fans, if you remove them and clean them and it's a bit wet, the best strategy here is if you are going to use 99% alcohol to separate the liquid of water so that it will be a quick drying process once we're done with that. So we just turn this one on and set our heat gun to the preset. Mine, I'm going to set this one at 110, and hot air will be at the maximum speed. So what we're doing here is you can see how dry it will be because we're using alcohol. So it will dry out very easily. Make sure that all the parts of the fan is perfectly clean and away from any liquid. So I see there's some liquids in this area. There we go. You can see how quick drying this one is. That's why 99% alcohol is the best. But we can put that bling a little bit more later on. Right now we're just going to clean the laptop fan like so. And that's the most easiest thing to do. Okay, let's see. Okay, there's a bit more. Just spin this one. So what we're doing here is we just do the drying process on the inside part. Now we go underneath, away from the bearing area. Okay, that's a good sign. So it's a little bit hot, but overall there are no liquids inside. So another thing to take note for is when cleaning this one is you need to make sure also to finalize the cleaning process inside the area of the bearing so that it can spin freely without any kind of dust, dirt, or even liquid that comes inside the bearing area. So this is now bone dry. Now it's time for us to put in our lubrication. So the reason why we are lubricating this is to prevent any fan to get stuck, or our fan blade right here to get stuck. So this is just a motor oil, or you can use Tamiya oil to actually lubricate the middle part. There we go, like so. And we're just going to put this one back in. Oh. There we go. Make sure that it fits perfectly in place, and there we go. It's a very clean fan now. From being dirty fan to a more better suited fan. Now that is where I'm a fan at. So next, we just need to put this one back together, making sure we get the right area. There we go. And here is my other secret technique. So looking at the fan itself, it kind of looks like it needs some polishing, right? Lucky for us, we can actually do some polishing. But we can do that later on our finalization, right? Right here on the heatsink area. So here's a pro tip. If you are going to clean or change thermal compounds on the laptop, make sure to check also the fans. If here in our shop, we add some additional fee in terms of cleaning up the fan. As you can see, this is how it should be cleaned. See how free flow it is? But if we compare that one to another fan, if this one is stuck, for example, and it doesn't spin freely like this, and it spins like this slowly, that means in this area right here on the middle part, there is something stuck, or sometimes that the bearing needs to be replaced, or the whole assembly that is needed for a brand new replacement fan for your laptop. So now that we are done with this, it's time for us to put back our laptop here and turn off our hot air station. That's how we clean our laptops here. That's how quality we do in terms of cleaning them. So we just need to ignore this one because we don't have any kind of replacement part, but in the future we will have a replacement for the thermal body. But right now, not yet. So this will take a while because you're still waiting for a board replacement on another laptop right here, while this one is still on order for the thermal body. So yeah, this is going to be a good one. So we just need to clean out some of the areas here. And like I said, the liquid metal should be sticking out on the laptop. So let's remove some other parts here, making sure it's perfectly clean. Oh, why did I ignore the thermal body not to be replaced? Like I said, we still don't have in stock at the moment, but we are going to wait for the order so that this one will be fixed like a whistle, and temperature will go 2 times better compared to liquid metal. And yeah, the thermal body is actually quite rusty right now, but not too much. Here's how a thermal body looks like, and as I can see here, you can see how rocky it is. Now that is what I can say liquid metal at its finest. It's quite sandy and it needs to be replaced. But you cannot do that for the meantime. What our target is laying the laptop with the heatsink and waiting for parts. So that is how it is when it comes to cleaning laptops and you don't have available parts for it. I don't know. Anyways, on Discord, we are live, by the way, on YouTube. You can check out Normspotatotek. We are live. We're just finishing up our cleaning process here. Now, we go to our next agenda, which is applying water. Applying a fresh thermal compound on this laptop to make it brand new again. So in thermal application, of course, we can just use lines already since we have this one right here, thermal grizzly. There we go. Just thermal this one out and press thermal paste. Like so. Same for the GPU. Okay, that is good. Now, just place our heatsink fan right here, placing it perfectly onto the laptop and call it a day. Call it a day, or we're going to test it because we're going to test this one before and after cleaning. This will give us a fresh coat of thermal paste for better performance and better stability. And since the laptop here is very clean and needs to be replaced for the thermal body, yeah, this will take a while. Okay, now that it is in place, fits perfectly well. We just need to put our cable right here, slide it in gently and carefully, and put this one on the top side of the heatsink so that we can put it back together. That's how it is, boys and girls. This is how we prove ourselves to fix laptops properly and gently without any kind of failure whatsoever. So, yeah. Parang gano'n naman talaga yung ginagawa natin usually. Okay. So, ngayon at natapos na natin siya, or we finish our thermal replacement, we just need to put back all the screws in the same exact manner. Make sure X pattern is being used to put back all the screws. And don't do any kind of parallel method that you have to screw it in a line. So this one, you can now safely use this laptop. You can lift it and yeah, I mean, this is good. This is a good laptop right here that we are finished fixing it. So very good indeed. So documentation later on. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're counting on how many Q-tips did you waste. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We wasted 8 of them. So guys, we have wasted 8 Q-tips just to clean a liquid metal based laptop. There we go. And yeah. And hello, Tyron Fortunato. Tyron Fortunato! Welcome to the stream, my friend. Oh, welcome to the stream, my friend. So we are going to finish it up. So this is our GPU with our clean fan already. So we have cleaned the fan. Kind of similar to the CPU area. Just plug this one in. There we go, like so. And put back the screws. Just like that. So what we're using here is thermal grizzly cryonut. But we're going to change this one to PTM 7950 soon. Okay, we just put back this tape, but we're going to replace this tape with a brand new one because we need to seal this one at least for better cooling. Yes, for better cooling system. Then we just put back our other other fan right here. Just like so. Oh yeah, by the way, Discord, we are live on our YouTube channel. If you want to see it, not this one. Wait guys. Yeah, this will be echoed, so we just need to mute this one. And send you guys the video right now. Change that one to YouTube. We're doing content creation at the moment. So there we go. What you can see here is we are quite done with fixing the laptop. So it's a good thing that we can have a more better view from the before and after. So it has been replaced with thermal paste for both CPU and GPU. Just need to put this one back carefully and gently on the EDP cable or our LCD cable here. Push that and lock in place. Put back our connection for the CPU fan, like so. In place again. Put back 2 screws on our CPU fan area, like so. So the next thing here is actually putting back our, yep, you guessed it guys, you guessed it. If you didn't guess, well, quiz time, I can say that. Not already, it's not necessary for you guys to have pop quiz for this, and it's pretty quite easy. Just put back this one right here so that our chipset is in place and not loose, like loose. And put back our battery in place just like so for our cleaning session to be done. Now we just need to plug this battery in. Oh yeah, there will be spark for this, so I see a spark there, but it's okay. It will work perfectly fine. And the moment of the truth. Will this laptop turn on? Yeah, we're just holding the battery. There's the power button, as you can see right here. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, fan spinning. Oh man, that is a success, boys and girls. So now that it is a success, we need to put this one on the side first. Because right now, we are going to clean this one with just a blow. Because some of the other areas here is not really quite dirty. And you just need to use some brush to brush off all the excess dust that is going to be in cold situation. Yeah, if you got colds, it's going to be difficult, and you will just sneeze for the rest of your afternoon. There we go. Alright, so same here on the bottom side. You can see there are still minimal dust buildup right here. And of course, finalizing it with a blow. And put back our plane or bottom plate on our laptop over here and do our benchmark result. So put it back in place. So first is on here the bottom part where the HDMI and our power button. So you need to put this one in an angle. So if this is straight, it needs to be like this first. So in an angle right there, make sure we put it in place. There we go. And just push it down. Just like so. There we go, people. Now that is what I can say, a perfect, healthy laptop ready for operation in terms of cleaning, maintenance, and whatsoever. And of course, the question is, did the laptop die or not? Well, before we do that, let's put a cleaning on the sides. So don't try this at home, which I did. So, to avoid any kind of mistake. Mistake number one, put your all-purpose cleaner in tear cloth. Not what I did here. This is just for fun. And you can see the difference, clear night and day difference. There are some scratch on the area, which is noticeable. There we go. You just need to scrub it. Since it is a multi-purpose cleaner, it will be easy for us to clean. Now, on the middle part, there we go. For this screen, it uses a screen protector, so it will be easy for us to clean. And you can see the night and day difference on this laptop. It's perfectly clean, no residue whatsoever with fingerprint smudges. And you just use an all-purpose cleaner to clean the laptop, and the ending result is actually really good, guys. So our time allotted is less than an hour, or I don't know how many hours did we wasted on this. Yeah, so we finish it in just under an hour. Whoa. That is just under an hour, guys. Very nice. That's a success that I can say. We go to our predator sense to check our CPU monitoring here. And our CPU temp is at 47 degrees C. What are we doing? 47 degrees Celsius. What can I say? Ladies and gentlemen, we have successfully fixed a laptop that has thermal problems. And how many wasted liquid metal on a Q-tip? That's a lot. I can say that. That's a lot. Damn. So, it's time for us to do our benchmarks. Make sure it runs perfectly fine. So, quiet mode. There we go. Ooh. Okay. So just need to press it in terms of balance mode, performance, going on turbo mode, and check the fan speed whether or not both CPU and GPU fans are working. Internet is also working. So our CPU now from 50 degrees to staggering, not really 50, around 56 to 90 degrees to staggering 41 degrees. What a difference. Okay, so let's check our fans in turbo mode. CPU usage at 9%. Let's go to our fan control max. This should check the thermals on this thing. So we are running at a countable speed, and our GPU is at a very non-overheating breeze right there. And this one from 5,000 RPM to 6573 RPM. That's not bad. That's good. Okay, so we're going to play NTE again. Everness to Everness and our game launcher. To test out the temperature we saw, boys and girls. Yeah. So when it comes to deep cleaning, the first tip here is you need to be careful and be aware when it comes to fixing laptops or doing it by yourself. Is that when cleaning a laptop requires you a ton of patience, no need to rush. And when it comes to liquid metal, how difficult it is for a first DIYer, I can say this is going to be 3 times that you need to be very careful when replacing a laptop with a thermal base that is liquid metal. Compared to a standard thermal base, it will be just fine, as usual. So now we're running on a comfortable 180 FPS. And our CPU is running at a very cold temperature. Okay. At 119 FPS. Wow. For 4060. And time for a ride. So we're running on a 90 FPS. Before it was 70, 60. Now we get our FPS number 2 times actually. 95, 107 FPS. 86, 61, 57. Yeah. This is how it performs right now in just under an hour on fixing and cleaning this laptop. Oh wow. 165 Hz 2K resolution. Yeah, stay tuned for a review because we're going to review this laptop coming soon. You can see the details. Okay, here we go. So yeah, temperature performance wise, let's see how it performs. at a very respectable 62 degrees Celsius. And our very highest temperature right now, 56. Now that is a difference from liquid metal to a thermal paste. What a difference. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Sa stream natin ngayon, on our stream actually. I do enjoy doing these kinds of projects, especially restoring laptops professionally without any kind of compromise. But yeah, and say this is a very suited laptop for work. Stay tuned for the full review on this. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. And as always, leave a like, share to your friends, and tap on the notification bell. And this is Storms, and I'll catch you guys again next time.